What are you, class 3 sexual predator?
Tier 1.
What's tier 1's the highest and worst?
No, I'm the lowest. You're child's play.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
No, but I do have a good mirror.
It's a serious question.
I'm sorry.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
I don't know. Why would you say that?
Because you have all the attributes. You're incredibly smart. You remember the devil is somebody knows
what?
The devil's brilliant. You read Milton's Paradise Lost.
No, the devil scares me.
Wait, so you know how we thought this Epstein fiasco was only going to end with Diddy and Jay-Z being outed for their shady ways? Well, hold up now because it gets even darker. It's now being reported that a lot of young and up-and-coming actors and actresses were either passed around in the industry or taken to Epstein Island in exchange for success. And one of those actors allegedly happened to be Brazier.
Very appreciative of the response people are giving, and people saying they love the show, they love the music, and they're feeling very inspired from the characters.
Meet Bryshare Gray, 21-year-old actor and rapper, and is one of the fresh faces on Fox's hit show Empire.
When I was 16 years old, me and my mom would pack up a small Camry car, and we would drive to Michigan, and we'll drive to Wisconsin and stuff like that, and I'll go perform for high schools for free.
Because it was only during the time that the show was being filmed that Brazier started to change for the worse. Allegedly, Terrence Howard and Taraji tried to get Brazier some help, but he was already too far gone. We have heard time and time again from industry whistleblowers like Cat Williams and Dave Chappelle about the price that the industry gatekeepers demand from entertainers. I mean, even Dave Chappelle spoke about how he had to leave the country after he was offered a $50 million deal because he had seen what had happened to other actors who took the money, and he knew that he was on the chopping block to be next.
What's going on? Why is Dave Chappelle going to Africa? Why does Mariah Carey make a $100 million deal and take her clothes off on TRL? A weak person cannot get to sit here and talk to you. Ain't no weak people talking to you. So what is happening in Hollywood? Nobody knows. The worst thing to call somebody is crazy, is dismissive. I don't understand this person, so they're crazy. That's bullshit. These people are not crazy, they're strong people. Maybe the environment is a little sick. Newsweek, it's a very credible magazine. And they're saying, maybe I smoke crack, and it was all innuendo. And the magazine is credible as Newsweek. I was very surprised that this was happening. And the higher up I go, for some reason,
people say that he lost $50 million. No, that's not even close to what happened to this dude. And until you understand what happened to the dude, you don't understand what happened. Not they offered him $50 million and he turned it down. Who gonna turn down $50 million? Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times. Just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about.
Now, the topic of Brazier has been coming up a lot, and it's just because there are a lot of holes in his story that no one is filling in to make sense to us. Some claim that it's not Hollywood's fault because Brazier was reportedly mentally ill before he landed the role of Haki on Empire. They say that Brazier was barely holding it together and he expected the success of Empire to open up other doors for him. However, when the Jussie Smollett scandal hit and the show abruptly ended, Brazier couldn't handle it, and all hell broke loose. But what they failed to mention was that this breakdown just so happened to conveniently take place once his mentorship under Will Smith and then later Diddy came to an end. Jaguar Wright has been very vocal about what happened to Brazier under Will Smith and how everyone around him, including his mother, was slowly brought out so that it could be easy to paint him as crazy and problematic once he left. But according to Taraji, it wasn't only Jaguar that sounded the alarm about Brazier. When it became news that Brazier had entered into a new line of work, actor and choreographer Darren Henson, you remember him from the Soul Food series on Showtime back in the day, MHM. He mentioned that he had warned Brazier to be careful of Hollywood since he knew all too well that no one would protect him once he got involved in the craziness. He said when he was younger and innocent, I warned him about the industry to be careful while he was on Empire, but nobody protected him. Now look, people will talk about you on your way up and on your way down. Always protect your own neck. No one else will. Cat Williams also supported this and mentioned how Harvey Weinstein once tried to force him into a situation back when he was also coming into the industry. The only difference between him and Brazier is that he said no and hightailed it right out of there.
Weinstein before the thing came out, but he offered to suck my penis in front of all my people at my agency. What am I supposed to do? He did all of that. I'm thinking I'm the only black person on the script. I get there, it's 3 other black guys on there. Woo. Huh.
So you wonder what they did to get
I told him no. What y'all do?
Now, the reason why Taraji is reportedly saying that Hollywood's gatekeepers might have a thing to do with why Brazier had spiraled is because of how he was locked in from all angles, and she puts the entire blame on Will and Jada Smith. This all started when Brazier's shady manager, Charlie Mack, introduced him to Will Smith and Diddy for a mentorship program. Charlie Mack used to do security for Will Smith back in the day. Charlie and Will's relationship went way beyond professional to something more personal, and Will even had a song titled Charlie Mack First Out of the Limo, which goes to show just how close their relationship was. So when Charlie handed Basher over to Will and Diddy, the story around it was that he was going to climb straight to the top with the very best in the business backing him up. But little did everyone know that the mentorship was the last thing that was being given to Brazier. Now some want to say that it was a surprise that Basher ended up the way that he did. But considering what we know about multiple people surrounding him, is it really that shocking? Even though Diddy was seen as this powerhouse in the industry, there have long been rumors about his sexuality and how he treated men in the industry in order to assert power and domination over them. I mean, Wendy Williams even talked about it for years before Diddy reportedly got her fired from Hot 97 for hitting too close to home with the truth.
Did you get fired for making fun of Puffy?
Yeah, by Hot 97. I had to fight a lawsuit. You know what it all came down to? It
came down to gay rappers. That's what it
gay
was
rappers and exposing. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Wendy, and she was on the radio talking all this way back in the days. I've been telling you things for years, but you don't want to hear. So, all right, fine. And I don't understand parents who unleash their kids. Oh, it's just a deeply moving story to me, because I know.
When Brazier was brought to Diddy, he was already being investigated by the feds for having relationships with boys that were not of age. However, the story really didn't make the news since Diddy had the power to bury it. And so you've seen the orgies, you've seen the people that were the stars and the _ that they were doing, and the smells and the looks in their eyes. The same way that Diddy was able to buy the silence of the media and the people around him was the same way they brought Basher's mother over to their side.
But I uncovered some research that he linked up with Will Smith's manager back in the day from Philly. Yes. And that really started his progress. But how do you know as a mother if your child is linking up with the right people or when you should keep them close or let them go?
Well, we're close. We're a close-knit family. I brought his manager on to help get him to where he is, but I managed him first, and artists developed him, and then we got a call through his manager asking if they had anyone that would want to audition for the role. Once he auditioned, he took off from there.
That was it.
Jaguar Wright mentioned that Brazier's mother, Andrea, was worried about her son at one point and came to her about it. Jaguar advised her to get away from Charlie Mack and Will Smith. But Andrea suddenly backed down and watched them toss Basher around for a couple more years until there was nothing left of him.
Saw what Charlie Mack and them were doing. He knew they were taking those young boys to Diddy. They all knew.
And from what Taraji has been saying, what Brazier went through affected him in more ways than she could ever realize. When they met,
somebody stole 2 hard drives from Jada's house. So now we get into why she's even more mad. Jada would watch at the houses. She had her laptop. She would stick her hard drive in, right? Boom, and hook it up to the TV. And she could play whatever video she watching. So I'm seeing videos of her and Will and a bunch of some celebrities, everything. Because remember, the last interview I told you, if you don't sue me, I'm gonna let people know who you've been hitting with them dildos. And I said, if you don't sue, I'm gonna sue. So I told you, being Muslim, whatever I say I'm gonna do, that's what I'm gonna do, period. And I gotta have evidence. So she's sitting down here watching, playing with herself, high as a kite, right? Not caring who's in the house, whether kids watching, nothing. She's in her own world. So that's how I was able to see the tapes. I saw them, and I saw some things that were unreal, and I saw celebrities on the tape.
Ooh.
I'm under penalty of perjury. If anything in here is a lie, my ass going to jail, period. There's no if, there's no ends.
And girl, if you think that was bad, wait until you hear what Will's former friend, Brother Barlow, is saying about it. He claimed that Charlie Mack wasn't just Will Smith's friend, but he knew that both of them had been intimate a few times. Additionally, he knew that Will had also involved Dwayne Martin and basically made him his boy toy. And this was a situation that Brazier was brought into. 7. Loaf is the best. She brings Meatloaf to set. That's amazing. What else? Wait, so she's like the real mom on set. She's like a real mother, you know? It's like it's crazy. It's crazy. Learn from Taraji and Terrence. They are the best in the game. So, you know, it's improving my acting skills as well. During her time on Empire, Taraji was booked and busy with other roles. So, it took a minute to realize that Brazier had started to spiral, and not just from the pressure of being a young star in Hollywood. According to sources, Taraji was still among the first people to reach out to Brazier and might have even contacted his mom, Andrea, to help him. However, Brazier's mom reportedly saw her son as dead and was even satisfied with selling the story of Brazier being ill instead of actually trying to help him. What Taraji later came to understand is that Brazier didn't just lose his footing on his own. He was locked into contracts, mentorships, and relationships that left him very little room to protect himself or speak freely. With everyone around Brazier controlling the narrative, Taraji's hands were tied. She couldn't support him privately. But once that machine decided who he was going to be labeled as, there was only so much that she could do. I felt like the industry was pitting us against each other, like only one could win at a time. And I always believe that the core of my being is that there's always room for us all. There's room for us to coexist on this earth. So why aren't there enough stories? There are enough stories to tell. And the internet is agreeing with Taraji because with the Epstein files out, you can't really put anything past these celebs. Jaguar has never lied. She will always speak on it. These boys and girls don't have protective parents. They have parents who accept some money for their child's innocence. Sick people. He wasn't always messed up. That boy never had mental issues before he went to their house. So, what do you guys think about this? Sound off in the comments, and make sure you hit that like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.